Hi there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, I'm a big fan of Squidward. He is by far my favourite character from Spongebob. Which shouldn't be a shock if you've seen my other content. I've always believed that deep down Squidward is a good person with a heart of gold, even if he doesn't always do the right thing. I truly believe that he cares for Spongebob.
He is the bane of my existence!
Is he though? So I put together a list of 5 times where Squidward was absolutely the best version of himself. So without further ado, let's dive into Squidward's good deeds. Alright, I'll admit, this one is a bit of a stretch, but I think it's valid. So during the incredible episode, SB129, Squidward wants some more time to himself, so he hides in the freezer to avoid SpongeBob and Patrick. He accidentally cryogenically freezes himself and winds up in the future. After an existential crisis, he finds a time machine and travels back in time to the prehistoric era, where he comes across some cavemen versions of SpongeBob and Patrick. They're playing a dumb game where they shock themselves with a jellyfish. This interrupts Squidward's clarinet playing, so to keep them entertained, he creates jellyfishing from some cloth and sticks. Yes, I admit this decision comes from somewhat selfish reasons, but Squidward could have gone back to the time machine to play. He actively decided to help these two with a game that he hates, and upon returning to the present, he seems happy to see them, even if it's a bit brief. So, in Born Again Krabs, Mr Krabs gets hospitalised after eating a rotten Krabby Patty that he keeps trying to sell to different people. The Flying Dutchman reiterates that Mr Krabs is a cheap, horrible person for this. Fair. And that he will spend the rest of his mortal life in Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Welcome to my locker.
Mr Krabs vows in this moment to never be cheap and gains a second chance. He blows it a day in and is sentenced to the locker. Well, up until SpongeBob intervenes and bets his life for 62 cents. Mr Krabs chose poorly and SpongeBob gets taken. At which point Squidward calls Mr Krabs out for this. The audience knew this was a horrible choice. Yet Squidward being the one to yell at Mr Krabs pushes this further and shows that he really does value SpongeBob. I think it was nice hearing this come from Squidward, of all people. Dying for pie. Literally in this case. After upsetting SpongeBob by disregarding his Employee Brotherhood Day present, Mr Krabs makes Squidward get SpongeBob a present. Squidward notices pirates outside the Krusty Krab with a load of pies. He buys one, despite it being a bomb. He believes SpongeBob has consumed this bomb and will die by the end of the day. So Squidward, who feels guilty, decides to give SpongeBob the best day of his life. Now, I know the counter-argument here is that Squidward is doing this out of guilt. While that is true, I do think there would be a breaking point for him. I mean, he humiliated himself wearing a salmon suit and even allows SpongeBob to perform open heart surgery on him. Yes, he's annoyed at the end when SpongeBob doesn't die, but if Squidward was as cold and cynical as he would have others believe, he wouldn't care that SpongeBob's time is almost up. Yet, they spend all this time together doing crazy things, the way true friends do. SpongeBob learns of Christmas from Sandy and falls in love with the concept of the holidays. He spreads the word of Santa Claus and goodwill to all of Bikini Bottom who are as sold on it as SpongeBob is. Well, everyone apart from Squidward. He believes there is no such thing as Santa Claus and there is no Christmas. Come Christmas Day, Santa didn't arrive and SpongeBob is totally distraught and broken. Squidward gloats and SpongeBob gives him the present he made him so he wouldn't feel left out. Squidward, who feels horrible, and rightly so, wants to make SpongeBob's wish come true, so he poses as Santa. Yes, this came from a guilty conscience, but it was still an incredibly nice thing to do for someone he claims to hate. To top it all off, he makes everyone else's wish come true and ultimately loses all of his lively possessions, just so SpongeBob wouldn't be sad anymore. Top of the good list, it would seem. Okay, so SpongeBob and Squidward have to deliver pizza to a customer. They go on a long journey together through different weather and terrain. All the while, Squidward is just getting annoyed and wants to go home. Eventually, after being lost for a while, they come across a house. SpongeBob attempts to deliver the pizza, but is met by the rude customer who screams at him for not bringing a drink he didn't even order. After everything SpongeBob did to make this as perfect as possible for the customer, He breaks down and collapses into tears. Squidward, who notices just how hurt SpongeBob is, snaps, grabs the pizza and slams it into the rude customer's face to make SpongeBob feel better. This just gets more and more satisfying every time I watch it. I think witnessing Squidward get annoyed all episode helped with this scene, but it's amazing. Nothing sells the idea he cares about SpongeBob more than knocking the person down who hurt him. And I would argue this is the greatest moment of the whole show. The strongest episodes are the SpongeBob and Squidward centric ones, and this one just brings it all to a head in the best possible way. Well, they're just my picks. I would love to hear your thoughts and best Squiddy moments in comments down below. If you enjoyed what you saw, then could you please hit that like button and subscribe? It will really help the channel continue to grow. I'm almost at the 1,500 subscriber mark and would appreciate all the support. Please stay close as I try to post new content as often as possible.